Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another video. I hope you guys are enjoying your summer. I sure am. Today, we're focusing on the familiar topic to the channel. 2 years ago, I made a video where I talked about my favorite Tyrannosaurus designs. 2 years later, we're here making another and a better video about my top 10 favorite Tyrannosaurus designs. We're all familiar with Tyrannosaurus, the tyrant lizard king, king of the dinosaurs. Tyrannosaurus is one of, if not the most iconic dinosaur in history. This incredible animal has a huge and unbreakable reputation, no matter how many studies or impacts there have been toward this animal over the years. At 8 to 9 tons on average and 10 to 11 tons maximum, 13 meters in length and 4 meters in height, it is the largest land predator in history. And as many of you know, Tyrannosaurus is one of my favorite dinosaurs, second fiddle to Cryolophosaurus. However, Tyrannosaurus had been a part of my life much longer than Cryolophosaurus has. Pretty much since the day I was born, I began to grow up with Tyrannosaurus. I remember watching many documentaries and movies, including Tyrannosaurus. I remember reading books and infographics, including Tyrannosaurus, and much more. And I've been looking back on everything, which led to this video. I'll be talking about my favorite Tyrannosaurus designs I've seen in media and grew up with, and I'm not just bringing up the ones I've seen on screens. I'm bringing up those I've seen in pages as well, and I'll explain why. Because obviously, there's a reason why these designs I've picked are my favorites. And a little spoiler alert for this video, there will be many Tyrannosaurs you might have not seen before, because many of these aren't talked about a lot, and I've been introduced to so many things, including dinosaurs, especially Tyrannosaurus over the years as I grew up. And I honestly think some of you might like these guys, whether you like the more accurate designs, or the more awesome bro designs, or somewhere in the middle. So let's get to it, shall we? Starting with number 10, with Tyrannosaurus from Dead Sound's Dinosauria. You see this Tyrannosaurus in the final episode of the first season, where it takes place in the final moments of the age of the dinosaurs. It's a bit like Prehistoric Planet's Tyrannosaurus, but with a better choice of color and a better and more fitting build. Not only that, but it also has a few hints of rough texture, as you can see throughout the body, especially on the top of the head on its boss, where it's a more rocky texture, which honestly really fits for something like Tyrannosaurus. I also love the choice of pattern here, that being the stripes on its body and legs. It adds more effect to the right pattern. Not only that, but I also love how you can see the scars all over the body, nice and clear, which can remind people that you're watching a giant killer dinosaur, not just a gentle giant in this episode. The golden effect thingy on the animation also fits it perfectly as well. It's like a golden structure from a time long before civilization, which it really is, followed by the other beautiful animals that lived alongside it. It's incredible. Coming up on number 9, we have National Geographic and Vlad Konstantinov's Tyrannosaurus from T-Rex, The Ultimate Survivor, and Dino Deathmatch. Dino Deathmatch features Tyrannosaurus, while T-Rex The Ultimate Survivor focuses on Tyrannosaurus and the studies of their years of combat and survival in the Cretaceous forests. And man, do I love seeing this one show up on the screen all the time. This is an unforgettable design. This is like Prehistoric Planet's Tyrannosaurus, but designed 7 years earlier, and even better. You got this cool, rough texture, a great pattern, an orange head with hints of orange around the rest of the body, a short pattern of beige or cream from the body to the tail, a nice facial pattern that goes on from the snout to part of the body, and a little mohawk-like hint of feathers. You even get this decent, bulky build, and those cheekbones too, which fits just right. If we're being honest, this is one of my personal ideas of what Tyrannosaurus looks like in the real world, and in general, one of the best ideas of what Tyrannosaurus would have looked like in the real world out there. In my opinion, far better than Prehistoric Planet's Tyrannosaurus. Vlad Konstantinov is well known for making incredible dinosaur designs, including multiple Tyrannosaurus designs, including one for that Hunger Games knockoff that has dinosaurs, the Isle, art pieces, and one that's also in the list of this video, but we'll talk about that once we get there. Huge honorable mentions to those designs. Vlad Konstantinov does not disappoint. Number 8 comes with Discovery Channel's Tyrannosaurus from Clash of the Dinosaurs and Last Day of the Dinosaurs. Tyrannosaurus shows up in pretty much every episode of Clash of the Dinosaurs, including a good chunk in Last Day of the Dinosaurs, and we get many good views of this one design. It may look pretty tintless compared to the others in this video, but it's honestly the best color choice for this design in my opinion. It still fits very well, as it looks very reptilian. Not only that, but the designs of these two programs slap some nice rows of osteoderms on these bad boys, along with giving it some tough skin, while making the Tyrannosaurus look very bulky, like a big bad. You can feel how titanic and awesome the Tyrannosaurus is, especially when it's put into action as well. When it runs, or it goes to hunt, or even when one of them took on an ankylosaur and a triceratops at the same time, which, by the way, that is easily one of the best cuts in the history of media, especially in paleo media. Really, the production team of Clash of the Dinosaurs and Last Day of the Dinosaurs gave everything they've got to these dinosaur designs. You cannot deny those designs were incredible, especially the Tyrannosaurus. I don't think we even deserve this guy at all. On number 7, we have the largest Tyrannosaurus design in this list, the Tyrannosaurus from Netflix's well-known series Love, Death, and Robots. We meet this Tyrannosaurus in the 7th episode of Season 4. This episode's universe is like another Hunger Games, but one that takes place in Jupiter, and it's like a death race. It has cool-ass dinosaurs, and has Mr. Beast hosting it. Sure, the season wasn't all good, but I really love the 7th episode, especially this right here. If your preference is the awesome bro kind, you're in for a treat, man. This design's back is filled with crocodilian-like scoots that go all the way from the neck to the tail. Crocodilian-like scales, scoots near the arms and legs and feet, heel spikes, and huge cheekbones, and even a huge and unique boss on its head. Something else that makes this Tyrannosaurus cool and unique is that, as you can already see, it's an albino, which really suits this design if we're being honest. Honestly, a perfect depiction for a giant carnivore, ready for battle, despite showing up for like 4 to 5 minutes before dying at the end of the episode. Sadly, we got to see some really cool action with this Tyrannosaurus. We see it fight a Triceratops in the final contestant of the game before teaming up with the contestant to kill some trashy powerful people. Pretty cool, right? The Tyrannosaurus even runs and jumps like 50 feet into the air without problem, which was insane to watch, before falling and dying to its injuries with the contestant. Rest in peace. Anyway, even if you're one of those people who don't like Awesome Bro, you have got to admit, this is super cool. It's such a golden design. I love it. Taking on number 6, we got BBC's Tyrannosaurus from the original Walking with Dinosaurs. We meet Tyrannosaurus in the final episode of the show, where it takes place at the very end of the Cretaceous, with a mother Tyrannosaurus struggling to live in the land destroyed by volcanic activity. Many people don't like the design of this Tyrannosaur, while others like it. I'm one of those people. Despite parts of the design's body, especially the head shape not matching that of the real-world Tyrannosaurus, who cares? It's still a really cool design, and you can still tell it's Tyrannosaurus. The design also gives this kind of 1990s feeling. I just described that in one of the stupidest ways imaginable. Oh my god. The design really fits for a 1990s depiction of Tyrannosaurus, and especially as one of, if not the first, dinosaur documentary series. Despite looking like how a 5-year-old would draw a horse on the snow with his own piss to some people, it's still a good reptilian vibe. Honestly, something we don't see as much back then with other Tyrannosaurus designs, or dinosaurs in general. We need to thank the paint job for that too. A white underside, hints of reddish-orange, a black cover, and the small-tailed pattern really suits well for a big bad theropod. It's one of those depictions that bring back that shock and awe people felt watching the show for the first time, including people like myself. The Walking with Dinosaurs Tyrannosaurus is one of, if not the very first depiction I've seen on the screen, as the Walking with trilogy has been a huge part of my life as I was growing up with paleontology. I was really obsessed with the trilogy, as I still am to this day. I even got a lot from this depiction, despite being in one episode for around 20 minutes. Walking with Dinosaurus Tyrannosaurus will always have a place in my heart, along with the whole series in the trilogy. The same can be said for the Big Five on the list, but before we get into the Big Five, I'd like to give a little quick word. If you're interested in superheroes, war, science fiction, paleontology, and world building, I'm working on a future project that brings all of these topics together, forming the series Pangea, a series following a superhero who returns from falling into the path of darkness with the goal to vanquish all evil from existence and beyond. This series coming to life will be a long time coming, but I've already started on ideas for the series. If you want to see some of the plans I've come up with, subscribe to my channel focusing on this series, Soromaniac, to stay tuned. See you there! Now onto the big five of my favorite Tyrannosaurus designs, starting with my fifth favorite, National Geographic's 2020 Tyrannosaurus. We meet this Tyrannosaurus in multiple National Geographic documentaries, including Bizarre Dinosaurs, Dino Autopsy, Dino Death Trap, and more. Aside from being a huge part of my childhood, like the rest of the Big Five, this is definitely a design different from all the others. The shape is like a combination of Acrocanthosaurus and Tyrannosaurus. It's like when the Tyrannosaurus from the Valley of Guangxi was a mix of Tyrannosaurus and Allosaurus, but you just switched the Allosaurus to a larger and later Carnosaur. The design has the body of a Tyrannosaurus and the neck of an Acrocanthosaurus. And not only that, but the head has the shape of a Tyrannosaurus, but is a little more narrow, like that of the head of Acrocanthosaurus. Though it could be weird to some people, it honestly really works for something of the 2000s. It's a really cool style for a giant, mean carnivore like Tyrannosaurus. The same can be said with the paint job. A white underside, golden cover, and blue dorsal cover followed by small patterns all together really works for a design like this. I never get tired of seeing this guy in action, whether it's hunting something down, or showing off, or even when it walks. It has a really badass king walk. On number 4 in my list of favorite Tyrannosaurus designs, we have Brett Booth's Tyrannosaurus, back from the 2020s. We see this Tyrannosaurus in many art pieces from Brett Booth, as Brett Booth has drawn thousands of awesome dinosaur art throughout the years. His paleo art is one of the best I've grown up with, thanks to this book I've also grown up with, that had other artists' awesome art in it too. This Tyrannosaurus design is one that brings multiple people together. If you're someone who likes feathers on dinosaurs, or rough textures, or simply just scales, or all the above like me, you will definitely love this design. To start off, you get this cool dark dorsal pattern that goes all the way from the head to tail. We sometimes get different patterns and sometimes color on the Tyrannosaurus, but in general, we still get things like quills or feathers and rows of small osteoderms going from the neck to the tail. Feathers on the arms, heels, and the end of the tail, and a bit of rough skin on some parts of the body, and the right bulky build. It fits for a Tyrannosaurus, and I'm sure it also meets the preferences of people who like the more accurate designs, or the old style of designs, or sometimes, somewhat, the awesome bro designs. Whichever you like, I feel like this Tyrannosaurus will find a place in your heart, as it has in mine. Especially with the fact I've grown up with these kinds of designs, especially Brett Booth's designs. It's just so fascinating and entertaining. On number 3, for my favorite Tyrannosaurus designs, we have Vlad Konstantinov's depiction of Tyrannosaurus in 2011. I found this design in these infographics I grew up with over the years, back when I was very little. I still have some of them today. They even came with some DVDs which introduced me to some of the Tyrannosaurus in this list. I also found this design in a dinosaur book I had during the same time I had the infographics. Unfortunately, I can't find that anywhere, but I can easily find it all in my mind. Once again, this design has been a huge part of my childhood. Though this design doesn't have anything like spikes or a pattern or a lot of color and stuff like that, I love the choice of color here still and the texture on this design. It's like a neutral and reptilian texture, and the head shape feels very different from the rest. It's a bit like the head of Jurassic Park's Tyrannosaurus, but even better. And honestly, this is like a very realistic design, for being honest. One that would fit very well in the documentary, and one that seems like a good view of what Tyrannosaurus would have looked like in the real world during the early 2010s. A great fitting classic design. I've even imagined this Tyrannosaur in a documentary, hunting throughout the land. You have no idea how excited I was when I found the animation Vlad worked on with this design. It literally made my day. I wish for something like this for a while. In all the years to come, no matter how much this list changes, Vlad Konstantinov's Tyrannosaurus and his Tyrannosaurus designs in general will be one of my favorite Tyrannosaurus designs ever. On to my second favorite Tyrannosaurus design, we have National Geographic's Tyrannosaurus from the documentary 2011's Dynamorphosis. We see this design a lot in this documentary, as it mostly focuses on the idea of Tyrannosaurus with feathers and the changes with the discovery of types of plumage within non-avian dinosaurs. And the feathered version of Tyrannosaurus they design here is incredible. You can see it's got feathers all over the head and neck with a cover of orange which goes through the rest of the back and upper body of the Tyrannosaur, with parts of the head feathers being white. And you can also see a patch of black feathers on the eyes. It's honestly a really cool idea of Tyrannosaurus with feathers, because it's not just on the back or the feathers sticking close to the body and being more like a coat. This is more like the mane of a male lion, and it's like it represents the king within Tyrannosaurus. It's a pretty interesting way to introduce the king of the Cretaceous. It's easily one of the coolest interpretations of Tyrannosaurus with feathers. I don't understand how this one didn't get popular. It's so extraordinary. I'm sure you guys can understand why it's a close second in the list of the video. But who's second fiddle to this feathered tyrant? Spoiler alert, it's from the same documentary. But before we get to number 1, we'll talk about another Tyrannosaurus in this list, because the spot for number 2 is shared with another Tyrannosaurus design. And another spoiler alert, this is like an opposite of the first number 2. Introducing the other number 2, this real mega beast, the H.H. Gnasher, brought to you by NVIDIA DAZ Studios, and Herschel Hoffmeyer. If I'm correct, this is an add-on in DAZ 3D, which you can find in the link in the description below. This is an unforgettable design, and if you're into awesome bro designs, this is a drug. The body is mainly covered with perfect green rough crocodilian scales, a crocodilian-like belly followed with a yellow underside, a rougher texture on the head, followed with a rocky boss and a removable and adjustable horn. You even have quills going down the neck, which is covered with crocodile-like scoots that go all over the back and tail, even on the knees, some extra teeth, and some scars which tell this is an 11-ton carnivorous warrior. If it doesn't already with how badass this design is. You can tell why I adore this design. This has got to be one of, if not the most badass Tyrannosaurus designs out there. The armored design with the green fits beautifully, along with the other additions. It's perfectly reptilian, as that is the version of this design. There are multiple versions of this design too, including the Jurassic, Volcanic, Insidious, Royal, and Palehead versions, which are all cool in their own ways. I can only imagine what was going through Hoffmeyer's head when he was designing this masterpiece. The work put on this is godly, and man, how it made its way into my heart so quick. You can't deny the pure awesomeness from this design, but the only awesomeness more awesome than this awesomeness is my top favorite Tyrannosaurus design. Coming in at number 1, standing as my top favorite Tyrannosaurus design, is National Geographic's 2010 to 11's Tyrannosaurus. Not only do we meet the scaly Tyrannosaurus before the feathered one in Dynamorphosis, but we meet this Tyrannosaurus earlier in Reconstructing T-Rex, a documentary that focuses on Tyrannosaurus and scientists on a mission to bring back a baby Tyrannosaur into the public museum. And we get a good bunch of screen time with this Tyrannosaurus. There's a lot of stuff I love about this Tyrannosaurus. The build is bulky and kind of smooth, colored with a greenish yellowish cover with dorsal stripes going all the way from the neck and tail, which grows as it gets closer to the tail. And it has natural sunglasses on the eyes with a sharp and smooth boss above them. And you even have these red reptilian eyes and a slightly white underside. I like the cheeks and how you can see the jaw muscles pretty well. You can tell this thing has a crushing mouth with its cool feature. It's such a smooth reptilian design, and this is one of the designs I grew up with the most. Since the day I met this design, it has been a favorite. It was one view of Tyrannosaurus that helped me understand so much about the animal and originates a huge proportion of my love for this one dinosaur. Back when I was little, there was no dinosaur that could rival Tyrannosaurus as my favorite dinosaur. Not even close. And reconstructing T Rex and Dinomorphosis played a huge role in that. I enjoyed and learned so much from this design. Same thing with the feathered version of this Tyrannosaur. It's so reptilian, it's so badass, it's so awesome, it's so fitting for a Tyrannosaurus design, from nose to tail. I will always love this design as a favorite. This is a design some people missed out on, and one I am so thankful for not missing out on. In general, I'm grateful to have grown up or at least stumbled upon these designs of Tyrannosaurus. They're all fascinating in their own way, and most of them came in different ways. Some recently, some a very long way. One thing they all share in common, though, is that they made their way to my heart, and that they're also all Tyrannosaurus, too. Don't forget that part. I need to thank every person who designed each of these designs. They're geniuses for creating these designs. I wonder what other Tyrannosaurus designs will come in the future, and if and how the list will change when they come along. Either way, my love for these Tyrannosaurs will never change. What are your top 10 favorite Tyrannosaurs? You can put them in the comment section below or even make your own video. Knock yourself out! Anyway, to wrap this video up, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and to my secondary channel as well, Soromaniac, link in the description, and I'll see you on the next one, and in Soromaniac. By the way, I scheduled this video. I finished at 3 a.m. last night. I wasn't even supposed to be up during that night, because today I'm on my way to Europe. Mom and Dad, please don't kill me if you somehow find this.